Good morning, everyone. This is a brilliant episode, bright and early, on this Wednesday morning. As always, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to my guest for coming on. This space isn't possible without the guests that come on. So, thanks again to the guy we have on this morning. And look, we always do, just get straight into it. Introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, what you're doing at the moment, and then I always say why. Why do people do what they do? So the floor is yours.
Yeah, what's up, guys? My name is Seamus Kelly. Bit about myself. Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for Finian for having me on. What a great guy. We met online talking about fitness. We were both in a different like an actual sports science program, and we found each other, and then we just kept in contact. And he's a great, solid guy. Does really good one-to-one training sessions out of Dublin, and has been increasingly upping his coaching and badges and activities, and he has a great newsletter on LinkedIn too. You should guys check out the Game Changer. What a guy!
Thanks, man.
But yeah, just want to say thank you very much, Tim, for having me. Yeah. So my name is Seamus Kelly. I'm a footballer, soccer player, whatever you want to say. I was born in Tokyo. A year and a half, I moved to Kerry, Ireland. Big change, I know. And now, as of January 2024, I moved to America to play college soccer. I played NJCAA, which is Junior College Athletic Association, National Junior College Athletic Association, and out of Texas. Played there for a year, then sent my tape out and transferred to a D3 NCAA school in the Pacific Northwest of America, which is like Washington, South California, those kind of areas. Sorry, North California, my bad. And yeah, so now I play soccer there. It's been a semester. It's been great. Yeah, I don't know if anybody can hear my Irish accent. I swear I haven't tried to sound American, but it's natural when everybody sounds like that. Can't do anything about it. Never really sounded too Irish in the first place. So yeah, it's a bit about myself. So yeah, I played college soccer. I'm pursuing a degree in quantitative economics, which is fancy talk for just business like econ. I just wanted something that I could do, I could potentially, bring into my life after soccer, set myself up well. Never really knew what I wanted to do in school, so here I am. That's kind of life. But doing well though. And why do I go? Why am I in America? Well, look at me, like I don't look Irish. I've always kind of been out of place. I've wanted to, go to a country that's, like multicultural, diverse, express myself. I've grown up listening about America, pop culture, media. So I was watching Cartoon Network growing up. My parents are always talking about, American music artists, the slang we use, the cultural, signposts. It's all sort of American influence. And a big thing is Ireland is almost set up for America, like there's all the companies and, the education system, etc. I was like, fuck it, why not? Oh, excuse me. Why not go to that won't happen again. Why wouldn't I go to Dublin? Why wouldn't I go to America where all these companies are operating out of? And also, in all fairness, the real reason why I came to America is for soccer. Um, in Ireland, you have the academy system. You play League of Ireland usually. Otherwise, you play, Leinster Senior League or Munster Senior League, which is good teams out there. But for most guys, it's the League of Ireland, and I was playing, League of Ireland under 17s, under 19s. Didn't feel like I could break into the first team. Didn't really have the ability. Needed to play more football. Didn't feel like confident that I can set myself up for life as well in Ireland. And I just wanted to keep playing soccer. I got into Trinity College Dublin after my leaving certs. I smashed. I got 600 points, but I never really wanted to, I was never really focused in academics. I always wanted to play soccer, and yeah, I did well in school, but that's just who I am. I've always wanted the best I could, and it just led into my life. But yeah, I wanted to go to America to keep playing soccer. I know the college system out here lets you have that little rigor room to develop like 4 years, and after you finish college, clubs are still looking to sign you, and it's like a proven path. Not only that, a whole like ton of people are on the same page as you. You get the training environment 4 or 5 times a week with, physios, with coaching, with S&C, with everything you want, and you also get to do a degree at the same time. And it's America, there's so much more opportunities. It's a big country. You have the old American dream saying, Not gonna lie, the girls, and the banter and everything. You just hear about this growing up in Ireland. You hear about this. You hear about America, and so it's like, and always like a thought back there, like, oh, I want to go to America and experience life, and so that sort of bled into me. And yeah, there's a lot more to it, but that's basically why I'm here. I'm here to pursue, keep trying to go pro in soccer, but also give myself a backup of a life in America afterwards. And it's just so enticing for me. I couldn't turn it down.
Excellent. No, I love it. And you know what, man? The whole thing about this is just people being themselves. So go and express yourselves the way I want to go and express. So that's honestly no
One or two
problem.
swear words, my bad.
Well, yeah, obviously, I know, and you know from us talking together. But just talk to me about the. I don't think a lot of people really understand the intensity of sort of training and the whole structure. Now, I know you said you were training 4 or 5 days a week, but just enlighten everybody on the actual intensity of training because, like I said, you've been messaging me sometimes that 5, 6 o'clock in the morning getting ready to go and like that's when
Yeah.
you're starting your day. So just
Yeah.
give us a bit of a more detailed background on that.
Yeah. So, say for example, today, honest day in a life, went to bed a bit late, so I rolled out of bed a bit later, 9. But by the time it was 10, I was in the gym. Did about an hour, and then we have this thing called fitness packets in America. And today's fitness packet was it was 2 laps around a track, so 800 meters, and I broke 2 minute 30 seconds in every single one, and then I rested a minute 15, and I did that for 6 reps, and then I played a game today, 105 minutes. It was a friendly, so it's a scrimmage, dude. Oh my gosh, it's a scrimmage. It's a scrimmage. Basically, it's like a practice. That was on purpose. I don't actually sound like that, but anyway, it's a scrimmage. Where it's a practice game essentially. We won 3-2. Um, and yeah, it's like three halves of 35, and I played most of it. I think I got subbed off for like 10 minutes just to give wiggle room players to play around, but essentially played the whole game. And yeah, that's just like a day in the life. My legs are messed up. I can't feel my calves, but gonna get a semi early night tonight after this podcast, and so yeah. So that's like what a day in the life is in summer. But as an actual college student, so I played JUCO. Junior college is essentially for well, the dominating factors are the Brazilians and Japanese, in my experience. Those usually are the players that can't speak English but are very talented. But JUCO is for players that aren't so academically inclined or had like a hamartia, like a flaw in their previous school, or their coaches fell out of luck, but they're all ballers. And sometimes it's just like a gateway for professional players to get time in America. And junior college is insane. I mean, I remember pulling up 17 years of age, thinking I'm gonna boss junior college because it's not even Division 3. Um, Hot Pups, this 6'5" center back straight out of a Mexican academy who moves like he's Messi. There's a literal 24-year-old guy who played pro, another 24-year-old who spent like 2 divisions in Liga MX. And I'm just thinking like I was in Kerry FC last week. And Kerry FC are a great setup, but like I was shocked because I'm thinking Kerry FC is great, so I'm gonna walk in the park, here. But yeah, much mistaken. Texas is hot as balls. So you're talking like 35 degrees consistently for like 6, 7 months of the year. It's insane. And so it's just not feasible to train in the middle of the day. I mean, you can, but it's just not really. So we would practice before it got warm. So that means getting up at, around 5:30. If you're really pushing it, 5:45. I'd take a cold shower, brush my teeth. I'd be running to the pitch. Training, you get to the training field at least 15 minutes early. So you have to be there like 16 minutes early. If you're late by a minute, you're running miles. Really, really well disciplined, really well drilled program out there. Coastal Bend College, shout out. Coastal Bend College, really good. Sets you up for life, honestly. And yeah, really tough. Junior college practice started at 6:45, and then it'll proceed until around 8:20, something like that. That was that every day. Now it gets tough because it's every single day. You have to get out of bed, regardless of the night's sleep you got, regardless of how you feel. And the thing is, at junior colleges, there's like 40 roster players. I don't know, 22 go to game day. Every single season, the coach is loading the roster with players. There's no maximum international players. So every single person I played with at JUCO was an international. We're talking players out of Copenhagen Academy. We're talking players that played men's league, players that played pro. You're talking about, players that played step five, step six coming into play, everywhere, Australia, Trinidad and Tobago. You have all these random countries, kids coming in, and you're just another number until you prove yourself. And you're either insane, like your professional level, which there were players that were, on that level or in and around that, or you're just another like player that's competing competitively. And so the coach can be ruthless. If you miss a practice, and you're going to be going down the pecking order rapidly. So it's not only just the intensity of the practice, but to put yourself out there and get up every morning and do that as intense. There's also, workouts. You have to work out like a certain amount of times a week, 5 times a week, and you have study hours to keep a certain GPA. GPA is like a grade point average. So, say you're making in your classes, yeah, taking 4 classes, you have an A, a B, an A, and a B. It's like a GPA of say 3.5 or something. So like 4.0 is if all your classes are above 90, 93 in 4 year schools, etc. And in JUCO, it's just over 90. And if you have like less than a certain amount, then you have to study extra under the guidance of a supervisor or coach. So you have all these things that to juggle. But it's a lot of it's life skills. And yeah, so the coach will have you train. Preseason is just running, miss practice, run, red card, run. There's like a fines list full of runs. And let's not forget, you're going to be doing these in the Texas heat, so it's no joke. And junior college, the facilities aren't, it's good. It's a lot better than what you have in Ireland, but they're also not Division One Premiership standards. So you'll find yourself, playing on like, in my experience, I trained on softball fields, just like baseball fields, sorry. And it wasn't like your lush Irish grass, the wet, soggy Irish grass. It's more like a really thin astroturf. So for me, I had like knee issues, every day training on hard, shorter grass. My knees were starting to hurt, and there's a lot of things that you have to consider. But you just got to stick through it and grind through it and make it out.
Amazing, honestly, man. I love that. And I just want to ask you, because something you kind of touched on there is right. You're waking up regardless whether you got your 6, 7, 8 hours sleep. You turn up to training regardless of sort of how you're feeling. Um, I mean, like, would you say has this been has that always been in Seamus Kelly? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe Seamus Kelly 5, 6 years ago would have been like, do you know what? I'll be late. I'll do the runs, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's always been in me. It's always been in me. But Texas really pushed me. It really, really pushed me. There was times where I was like, well, summer league was brutal because I was playing in the USL too. Well, I wasn't even playing. I was just like a practice player. I went to a tryout, got in, but I was only practicing. And training was actually like another 30 minutes before that, and I had to get up at 5:20 this time. And it wasn't at my school at the pitch, so I'd have to jog at 5:20 every morning to a bus station to catch the bus at 5:35. And then that would get me to practice just on time. So you're talking like jogs and imagine crawling out of bed to have to run when you're half asleep
Yeah.
at 5:20 every single morning. And we're talking like 2 miles. Not everybody would want to do it. And living conditions were really bad at a certain point too. And I remember waking up thinking like, it's all it tests you, like there's a lot of failed stories of going to America. I'm still in my second year, so it could very well be me, hopefully not, knock on wood. But yeah, so I couldn't find wood. But anyway, yeah, so I have to, you have to grind through it. Yeah, as I was a kid, obviously I was playing. I practiced karate, did rugby, I did soccer. I was always doing sports. My parents drilled me to do well in school. I was always up early, ish, and I was studying before school. I was doing Japanese before school because I wanted to speak Japanese. And yeah, my academics were always like up there as one of the best, or I made sure I was one of the best, and I trained every day. I didn't really miss practice. I think that came from my parents' support. My dad was a big influence, and my mother too really, really helped me out. Both of them equally did their bit, and yeah, and I always didn't want to let myself down. There's like a phrase I live by. It's noblesse oblige. It's Latin for those who are blessed have the allegiance to do well with what they have. And essentially, I felt like I was blessed. I felt like I had the best chance of anybody in my bloodline, and so I've always been driven since a young age to do best with what I have. And that doesn't happen every day, but it's the idea, it's the thought. Like I wake up, I don't want to do this. This is exactly why I'm going to do this. And nothing in life is full time. You have to tell yourself that. Do you really think you're going to go pro? Do you really think you'll be playing this into your 30s at a competitive level? If the answer is no, then are you not, getting up to make that practice,
Yeah,
why do you want to, would you rather feel guilt in your deathbed, than get up, not get up, sorry, like these thoughts will cross your mind if you do 520s and jogs every morning. But it's just how you take it and it really tests you. Now, there's talent. I think there's talent. There's players that are around 12, 13, 14 that are destined. And then there's people that are better than the average. And I fell in that category, but they're not destined yet. And those kind of players in that middle ground of naturally talented but not insane, those are the ones that are really fighting against each other. Because in reality, they say 0.1% make it as pro. But for me, 90% of those have no chance from the
yeah,
moment they step on the field. They're just not athletic. They just don't have opportunities, whatever. Then there's 10% of those who got it, and 1% of those who are already there, like already naturally born gifted generational footballers. And it's just the rest of them clawing for the last spots. And essentially, if you don't really love football, especially in America, especially if you go down the JUCO route where life's not pretty, you're not going to want to play, because a common factor of all the best players at the junior college is that they genuinely love football. They genuinely love to play the game. They'll play it afterwards. They'll eventually come back to it. They'll say they don't like it. Oh, I don't want to do this, but you can just see it. They love the game. They're smiling when they play. They're laughing. They're joking. And yeah, I've always had that kind of drive and determination, and it's just been. It was definitely tested in Texas, but I got through it.
amazing. Well, I mean, it's clear to see that you're going to go and achieve some big things
Yeah.
in your life because honestly, with that drive and with that obsession, if you want to call it that, like that's the only way. You're waking up when you don't really want to basically wake up.
Yeah,
But
what I would say is, sorry to cut you, but
no,
it's
go.
not it's not motivation, it's discipline. It's a sustained effort and sustained will to get something. Now, you can always have stints. You can always be like, yeah. I'm talking as like a mediocre player, I'm not professional level. I can see that. I understand that. I got a lot to learn. I got a lot to improve. However, I'm still I was looking at like my under 13s League of Ireland Academy team. And I was just thinking, like looking across the faces, I wonder how many of those, I don't know the answer, but I wonder how many of those still play football competitively. And I was one of the worst players, not one of the worst, but I was definitely not one of the stronger players. And I didn't make that, I wasn't called back that year. But now I look at it and I'm thinking, well, how many of these guys can still like put in a good shift at the level I play at? And there's definitely players that are better than me. There's players that have uh, there's players that broke first teams, like really good footballers. But overall, how many of those guys that started ahead of me when I was 12 are still playing now at this level? And I remember getting rejected from that team, and the coach or the director, club director, said to me, "You're not going to make it." But or sorry, he said to me, I asked him before the practice, before he let me, whether he's going to continue, having me on the team or not. I said to him, like, no matter what you say, I'm going to take in everything you say, and I'm going to still like go for it and make it. And he said, yeah, I think with that kind of attitude, you will genuinely go pro. And I remember hearing that, and thinking like, well, I've said it now, I got to walk the walk. But
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, just thinking like, maybe I do have that dog in me. Maybe I do have that, sustained motivation that people do not always have, the grit. And but yeah, it's been tested and tried all the time. There's been a lot of episodes, a lot of stories I can count on where I've kind of looked at myself and thought, fucking like I need to do more. There's people that out there that put more on their line, put more on the line. But yeah.
yeah. So it just it's amazing to hear that. But then, what is there like like one massive life goal? Is there just generic big goals? So like I said in the questions, like is it based around football, family, business, health?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there something that sticks out?
Yeah, of course. I want to be pro. I want to go pro. I put so much effort into the game in one way or the other. Not saying I'm amazing or anything. I don't think I am. I think a lot of players would agree that I'm not. I've never been like the best, and even now, but I still want to go pro. I still have those aspirations. something to say. Like, say if I have kids in the future, I want them to say that your dad was a professional footballer. And that's what my goal is right now. If I can go pro even for one season, I don't care if I'm playing in backyard Division 3. If it's professional football, I want to take it. And even my academics are top notch. I go to a good academic college in like university in America. I have a 4.0 GPA as of last semester. I'm putting the shift in school, and but even then, like even though I have prospects to go to good grad schools, I still want to take a year out or two just to really push myself and just to really get my name out there, try and sign some contracts, do something. I don't care if I scam my way into it. Like literally, if I have a shirt holding up and I say I'm a professional footballer and I'm on Transfer America and I've played a few games, I see a crowd and I celebrate with a crowd. That's gonna validate everything. And in the end of the day, I love football. I love playing, and that's what drives this. It's not like money, or it's not something empty. It's not something superficial. I feel like if it was, I wouldn't be here today doing all this. And yeah, so life goal, professional football. Another life goal is to be financially, sound, stable. Want to be retired for sure. I want to, if I want to be a dad, I want to be a good dad to my kids. I think the most valuable thing you can give to your children is time. And so I want to work my balls off earlier on and, be able to raise my kids, and give them my time. I'm very health conscious. I rarely ever drink alcohol. In America, it's illegal. I guess my age. Boys back home, yeah, I would get on the pints, but never really did. Like never did actually in Ireland, never. And never vaped, never done any of these things. I try and eat as healthy as possible. When I was in Texas, impossible. Jeez, man, they layer on the oil like and all that stuff
Yeah.
is tough. Yeah, I put on a lot of weight. There's this thing called freshman 15 when you first go to college, you're away from your parents and you blow up. But I was in Texas, so it was the worst case of that, and I wasn't actually feeling too good to be honest. But I mean, Washington now it's a bit more. Healthier state, and I'm eating a lot better now. In NCAA, they have a great meal plans, great food, great university food. You're talking like food from every country, sushi, all the lot, like so it's good. And yeah, so I want to live a long, healthy life too. So health goals, live a long life, stay injury free in football. I want to be able to, be pretty active as I get older. Want to go pro. Want to be financially stable. Take my piece of the cake and leave, but make sure that cake is fat and and a lot. I also ties in my religion though. I don't want to lose myself. I'm Roman Catholic. I'm not the most devout, but I still definitely root a lot of my principles in life, through God. It helps me keep grounded and focus on my goals. But I don't really use God. I let God use me as a storehouse, as somebody who can, give out positive energy and bless people. Maybe not bless people because I can be a bit ratty on the field, but just helping me to be a better person, just developing. And yeah, those are sort of my main goals in life. But I just want to enjoy life, and I think these kind of things will help me do that. But that's what I live life by enjoyment. Like, how can I enjoy myself? I remember growing up, like people would be like, "Oh, Seamus, you should live life more. You should play PlayStation, eat this, eat that." You've never had Fanta, you've never had Coke, because I didn't have Coke until I was like 14, 15, something crazy. Like, oh, Seamus, you should come out with us, drink, have I don't know. I never did that because I didn't really find myself enjoying that. I rather found myself karate, playing soccer, getting good grades, and the fulfillment, and the prospect of going to America. So everybody's different. Everybody's idea of enjoyment is different. I respect everybody's version of it. Just for me, I'm a bit particular and I have a certain definition of it, and I just follow by that. And to be honest, if you are doing what you want to do in life, you're going to be happy.
Oh, 100%. And I'm honestly, I'm the exact same. I don't think I can't remember exactly, but I think I might have been 16 when I got my first PlayStation. But like that, it's just, I mean, even now, I'm just in a place where it's just like everything I want to do, I want it to involve like physical activity. So, and I'm basically the same. I just want to go out and enjoy life. And for me, being outside, whether it's playing sports, whether it's being in nature, that's enjoying life rather than spending hours a day on a computer, on a laptop, on a TV
Yeah.
playing games. Honestly, it's amazing. Um, Yeah, so just to touch on the next question, I mean, I know you've kind of spoken about it already, but is there any sort of other challenges that you've maybe gone through over the last 4 or 5 years? I mean, maybe if you want to just sort of talk about the process of leaving home, because I know that's never easy, and never mind leaving home, going to a country that's I think 6 or 7 thousand kilometers away from where you live. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm also just aware of the time. I don't know if you can see top right, says we have nine left. We can cut it and re-record again. There's no issue. But
no, we're all
uh,
good, yeah.
yeah, but yeah. So 4 to 5 years. So I've never really been like a solid starter. I played for Killarney Celtic FC, my boyhood club. That was the time I probably enjoyed my football the most. I was playing under 16s, under 17s, men's Bs, debuted men's A's, played a couple games. 14, youngest player to play for the men's side as far as I know. Was playing good solid games. This is just after COVID. I was loving football. I was taking everything seriously. Really good team. We went to the National Cup. I think it was semis, but I didn't play in the semis because I just signed for KFC underage under 17s that year. Um, and then it's upward hill since then. I was the bad age, if you like, in Irish football, where you're 15 playing with the 16-year-olds. Didn't really start many games. The following year, the club had a complete turnaround in management. The club director, academy director changes. I was promised game time as is my good year, but a new guy came in. The manager was no longer manager of the team. Um, the manager brought in new players. I think on guarantees or at least like plans, which is fair because if you're gonna bring in new players, of course you're gonna you're gonna entice them with certain and fair enough. They're good players, right? And like they're good value, and I could see why they'd start ahead of me. But it did mean that I was not lied to, but I was hoping and building up the play finally after a year of grinding, on and off the bench, I could play in my good year. But I don't moan. We don't moan. All I thought about back then was just how can I react? How can I get better? And I remember at a certain point it got kind of bad, and I was really like doubting my ability. Just wasn't playing football when I should have been. I wasn't getting 90s week in week out. I played for the 19s, I played for the 17s, and I wasn't developing. And I tactically I wasn't good enough really. I think my decision making was crap. Still needs to work on, but I've improved a lot since. Composure wasn't there. I was just running around like a headless chicken because I was very fit. I was always the fittest on my team, or one of the one or two, number one or two always. But that meant I just thought that I could run around the field, but that's not what it is. And um, coming to college, like I'm watching more football, all these things have helped my EQ, my football IQ, sorry. But yeah, I wasn't playing, and the director didn't rate me. It was even touch or go whether I'll be held on, even though I was a good value player. And yeah, you don't even know about this, and I'm just thinking like, fuck, like what should I do? I go to a showcase trial in Dublin with Atlantic Scholarships, very good firm. I don't know if they're still operating now. Maybe they merged, maybe they stopped operating. I don't know, but yeah, I went with them, did a showcase trial a year before I was going to go out to America. Did really well, played out of my socks. A couple of schools were interested, which I will not name, but top D2 programs, but they weren't academically the best, which is like a big no-no for my parents. But yeah, we're all for it. We're talking to coaches. They're sending out my highlights to D2s mainly because that was like the easiest place that I could get scholarship for, according to the firm, because of my CV of playing League of Ireland football. And scholarships are easier for internationals. But I wanted to, go to a good academic school as well because I obviously just got into Trinity College Dublin. I just got, six H1s. Um, and yeah, I remember, getting into one of the best D3 academic schools in the country, like world class. And my mom was like, the tuition is 75K a year. We're gonna sell the house. And I was thinking, shit, all right, I guess we'll do that. But I was thinking like if that happens, I go to that school, they have soccer, nice, but as soon as I graduate, I'm gonna have to make that back and pay him back straight away. And there's no leeway for me to go out and do what I want to do and try and go pro. So I was agreeing with my mom because it was an insane like pull that I got into this school essentially. But I remember my mom, I was kind of not depressed, but I wasn't myself for 2 months. And I was like zombieing through the day. I was obviously stressed about it. Didn't even realize everything was a blur. And my mom turns around one day and says, Seamus, I'm so sorry for, you know, forcing you to do something you really don't want to do. I can see it. Do whatever you want to do. So I go back to my agent, and the only real school that offered at the time that was offered left for the following spring, because this is around December time, was a junior college in the middle of nowhere in Texas. That and a couple other potential schools, D2s, but they just weren't good academically. And junior college is, like a Kerry college, like a 2 year program kind of thing. And I just got into Trinity College, and I'm thinking like, shit, do I really want to go here? The academics look crap, but there's a chance for me to transfer. I can figure out what life is like in America. I remember just rushing into it. I remember just thinking it's destiny. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I don't care. I'm gonna ignore all the red flags, potential red flags. I'm gonna ignore like what I don't like to hear. I just want to do it. I just want to get out of here. And yeah, I remember like saying bye to my friends and packing up and getting, few and far, but still very, very important messages from people saying, you helped me so much. Best of luck. Most people sort of didn't really care, or not didn't care, but it was just I was just another person, which is fair enough. And yeah, so I just slipped under the covers. I went to Texas, fly over there. Don't know how many people knew about it, but my close friends did. I remember on the plane, I get to Dallas and I kind of realized what just happened. Like, oh shit, I'm never gonna be with my parents. I'm never. I wrote it down in my notes, and I remember getting teary. I was like, all the familiar smells of your house, all the moments, the memories. Because what made it hard for me is as soon as I left home, my parents downsized and sold my childhood home to somebody else. So somebody else lives in my bedroom right now that I'll never know, never meet. And yeah, so all that kind of hit me. I land in junior college, and the facilities. I land in my dorm, and I'm thinking, wow, this is not good, because apparently it's up to the residents in the previous semester to clean up your dorm before they leave. My dorm was disgusting. Toilet was unkept, and I was thinking, shit, what have I done? The school light was flickering. I was thinking, geez, like this is not good. And but I figured that out. My roommate was from Rio de Janeiro, from the favelas. How cool is that? We're listening to Brazilian music. We're playing two touch as we study, and we're laughing about how America is everything's so big. We get a pizza and it's the size of three of our heads, like genuinely insane. We shared it and we finished like half of it, and I'm a big eater, insane. And yeah, a lot of challenges, too many challenges for me to speak of. Football. I remember I had an ankle sprain just before, so I was talking to these coaches as I was injured, saying, "Yeah, I can play next week." As I was injured, I rehabbed it for 3 months, got back to full fitness, played the week I land. I do some solo practice, and I sprain my ankle again. And when you sprain your ankle in America, it's serious because scholarships and everything are on the line with your football ability, literally. You make it out of community college based off of your soccer. And I was just thinking, like, mom, dad, where are you? And it's really tough because you turn around and nobody's there. It's like a real ball dropping moment where you just realize you're alone. And it was good. It helped me grow. Made a lot of friends, got out of my shell. I had to get up early. I had to go to class. I had to do all these things. And yeah, there's a lot of challenges in that front. Just to continue playing football at a certain level, despite the crazy amount of stuff you have to do within the day, whether it's classes, getting signed up, your legal stuff, your passport, your I-20, all this stuff you kind of have to handle yourself, stuff. So yeah.
Well, honest to God, man, it's been so good talking to you. I've loved every single minute of it. I know it's late for you. I don't want to keep you up, but I want to say massive thank you for coming on. It's been an amazing insight to hear your journey. I'm wishing you all the best, and I promise you, we are going to be linking up very, very soon. So thank you for
Exactly.
your time.
And